have a ton of eyeshadow brushes, and as you can see, I mean, how many blending brushes do I really need? Hey guys, welcome to today's video. What we're going to talk about today, I have a big basket of goodies. These are my all-time favorites. I typically, on an everyday basis, go a little more full glam than the average person, but these are the items that if I have to travel, these are the ones I'm grabbing for. If I need something that I know is going to pull through for a great look, this is it. So we're going to start off with primer. I have the Stellar Beauty Primer. It retails for $35. You get 1.12 fluid ounces, which is just a little bit more than standard. What I love about this is that it blurs, it illuminates, and it hydrates. So it's like a triple threat for primers. And right now, with it being winter, my skin is really dry. So I could do one pump. As you can see, it's pretty solid. It's not too runny. I start off by putting it on my T-zone, my chin, and then I just smooth it out all over. You don't want to use too much of this because it can kind of clump up and you don't want that extra texture on your skin. Alright, now for foundation, I'm going to show you one of my recent discoveries as a favorite. It's the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. Sorry if you see me looking down. I have my notes and my monitor right here so I can make sure I give you all the information. It comes in 33 shades. It retails for $49 and you get 1 fluid ounce. When I do my foundation, I like to use a glass palette. I pump it out on a palette so it's easier for me to control. I don't like using the back of your hand. I feel like that's unnecessary. It can get extra oils, plus your hands dirty. And if you're like me, you're usually getting ready in the mornings when you're on your way to work. So you don't want to have that laying around. A super cheap alternative for a glass palette is this. It's actually, you can still see the barcode. It is a glass subway tile I picked up at Lowe's for like 60 cents. You want to make sure it's glass, not porcelain, because porcelain has pores in it and it will soak up your product. So make sure it's glass and then you're good to go. So I get my foundation. I do 4 pumps with this to get full coverage. As you can see, it's not a whole lot. It doesn't pump out a ton. And I take that, grab a little bit, I use my little mirror to help me. And I use stippling motions. I like to do this versus swirling it around. That used to be what I used a lot, but I feel like I get better coverage when I use stippling motion. And I take it all over the face, even like my eyelids in this area, which I do use concealer, but I like to make sure it is even pigmentation. You just stipple it around. I know the foundation seems super expensive. I mean, $49 is a lot, but one thing you can do is make sure you catch it on sale. I know Ulta does more sales than Sephora does. If you're a rewards member at Sephora, you can do like I did. I got do an extra little pump here. I put too much on my cheeks. Got on my forehead. I used the 20% off that I got from Sephora, the VI Blue Rouge, which I know not everybody is. So just make sure you get that real good. This is a long wearing foundation. It's full coverage, natural finish. It's not going to dry down completely matte, which if that's something you're interested in, you probably won't like this product. I use the shade Oslo, which is for fair skin with pink undertones. I typically go for something with a neutral undertone, but from their website, this was the best I could tell that would match my skin. So after foundation, I go to eyebrows. As you can tell, my hair is red, my eyebrows are not. So I use 2 products. So the first product I go in with is the NYX Professional Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Auburn. It comes in 8 shades and it retails for $9.99. This one lasts me about 2 months, 2 to 3 months, depending on how often. I typically do my makeup every day, except maybe Saturday if I'm staying at home. So the shade, it works really well to me. For the sake of time, I'm fast forwarding through the brows. As you can see, I'm starting at the tear duct and following the natural outline of my brow. If you would like a more detailed video on this, please leave it in the comments below. But I'm going to go in with the Benefit Cosmetics Gimme Brow. This comes in 8 shades. It is $24 for the full size, which is what I have here. It's fairly large, and it comes with 3 grams of product. You can get a mini size for $12. It is virtually half the size, so half the product. If you're just wanting to try it out, that's a great deal. Or if it's something you're not going to use every day, that's perfect. And I use the shade 3.5, which is warm auburn brown. I have other brow gels that I think are great from the drugstore, but again, this is one of those that it was really hard to find a shade that matched my hair. I don't like my brows to be too brown. I do like for them to have a nice auburn tint to them. So I feel like it makes my hair look more like it's supposed to be. And I just go, you can see, I'm not going over the whole brow. I start really about half where my iris is and then go out. This shade is a tad bit darker than what I used for the micro brow pencil. Gets a little dimension and makes sure those hairs don't go crazy throughout the day. Now I'm going to move on to concealer. I found this really awesome brand at the drugstore. It's really Sally's Beauty, but it's still drugstore prices. It is called Col-Lab. And at first, I always go in with a color corrector. Whether it's this, I have one from Maybelline that I really enjoy. But I go in with a color corrector because, as you can see right here, I have really dark circles. And no matter how much I sleep, how much skincare I use, what masks, everything, it's just I have dark circles right here. I'm typically a night owl, so I don't get as much sleep as the average person. So I like to go in. A color corrector is a creamy or powder that's in a different shade that cancels out the color underneath. So for dark circles, especially under here where you get that purple and blue, you want to use a peach. So I have the Col-Lab No Flaws Under Eye Concealer. It comes in 3 shades. I use light peach. If you have a darker skin tone, you want to use obviously a darker peach. And when you first put this on, you're going to think, oh my gosh, what is she talking about? This looks so much darker. But you put your shade and concealer on top of that, and it helps cancel out. So it's in a little pot form. I just get my ring finger, kind of swirl it around. It helps warm it up. And I put it right in the areas where I'm concerned about the discoloration. This is a great way to look like you've not been tired since 2000. I just pat that under there, and then I'll go in with the Col-Lab No Flaws Liquid Concealer. This comes in 8 shades. It retails for $11.59, which is the same price as this. I use the shade Porcelain 01, and right now, depending on when you're watching this, I'm filming this on New Year's Eve, so depending on when you watch this, right now, the Col-Lab is buy one, get one free on sallybeauty.com, which is a great deal. I loaded up on a ton of stuff, and I want to bring to you guys a whole brand review on Col-Lab very soon. I put it under my eyes. I make sure I get up in this little cavern area. I carry a lot of darkness there, and typically I'll go down my nose and my chin. I'm a glasses wearer throughout the day, so I have problems with product wanting to rub off in this area, and I go in with a brush and I just dab. I do not like using a beauty blender for concealer or a sponge, or for my foundation for that matter. I feel like I lose a lot of the coverage. A sponge is going to soak up more of the product than a brush will. So and I know it has a cult following on YouTube and Instagram and all those places, but I just feel like for my skin, it doesn't translate very well. So I just dab, 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 dab. You don't want to swipe. If you start swiping, you're going to pull the product, and it's going to go to places you didn't want it to go. It's going to go further down the cheek, or it's going to go away completely. When you dab, it helps press the product into your skin without moving it around. Make sure that stays where it's going to go. So now we need to set. Because concealer is a liquid and the under eye color corrector that I use, the Col-Lab, is more of an emollient, thicker type texture, you definitely want to set it. And so you don't get creases or you don't get any of the smudging, and it stays where it's put. So for under eye setting powder, this is something, again, I've recently discovered. It is the BECCA Brightening Under Eye Brightening Setting Powder. This is a brightening powder. I love the packaging here. I don't know if you can see, it's super bright, but it has a twist cap. So you make sure that if you're like me and you travel a little bit, not like I travel far, I travel to see my family and stuff. The twist part closes the sifter so you don't open it up and powder is everywhere. I tap out just a little bit into my cap. I do use a sponge for this. It is a beauty blender. It is dry. I do not wet mine, which I know is a huge thing they say you're supposed to do. You can use a sponge other than the beauty blender. Real Techniques makes a great one, but I had already bought this, so I thought I might as well use it. And I just dab some of that powder under here. You don't need a lot of this. This is going to lock it in place. I used to be a major fan of baking under the eye, which is where you set down a ton of powder, probably translucent, and then you dust it away later as the heat of your body warms up the powder. But lately, I have had a major problem with creasing because my under eye area is dry right now, super dry. So this powder I found makes my under eye area look flawless all throughout the day. I don't have any creasing. I don't have any smudging from my mascara. So this is a really great powder. It retails for $25. You can get it at Sephora and Ulta, I think. So now I'm going to move over to setting the face. This is not always something that I did. I didn't really feel like it was necessary. But the more I do it, the more I realize I get better staying power out of my product. I don't set my entire face. I set the areas where I'm going to be putting powder on top. For example, the cheek area, like my blush, my bronzer. I carry my bronzer up into my temple area because, as you can see, I am super pale, so I like to have a little warmth to my face. And I set around my nose. That's where I wear my glasses. I have a lot of product that comes off just naturally no matter what I'm wearing. So right now I'm using the CoverGirl Advanced Radiance. This is the old packaging. This is a product I do keep backups of. So I have another one of these in my drawer, which is why it's in the old packaging. It comes in 3 shades and it retails for $8. So I just take a little fluffy brush, swirl it around in the product, and dab on my cheeks. I don't need to go up under my under eye area because I've already set that. And you don't want to have too much powder. Too much powder will make you look cakey, and that is not a cute look. Around my chin. I'm just going to take a little bit extra around my nose area. It is sinus weather, so I will probably be using tissues sometime today. Go up in my temples. This is a near translucent shade. For my skin tone, it is. It does have a little bit of pigment. I don't know if you can see. It does have a little bit of pigment, but not enough to where it's going to change the color of your foundation. So now that I've done all that, I'm going to go into my eye look. One of the things, no matter what eyeshadow you're using, whether it's drugstore or whether it's higher end, using an eyeshadow primer can drastically alter the way your eyeshadow wears, the way it looks, and its longevity. So I use, one of my favorite is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in the shade Eden. The original is great, but I like an eyeshadow primer. You can see. It is a matte cream shade. I like a primer to have a bit of color in it to kind of cancel out any discoloration like veins or anything that I have in my eyelids. And I think it gives a bit more color, makes the color in your eyeshadow pop. So I just put a couple of swipes on there. It does come with a doe foot applicator. This retails for $24. The Eden shade is not offered in a travel size, The original is offered in a travel size. I believe it's $12. But that, like, I've had that one for probably 6 months. Like, I'm not even kidding. The full size tube will last me a year. And I do my makeup almost every day. So I just pat that in with my finger, make sure it's spread across your whole eyelid. I do go up to my brow bone just because it does offer that coloration. And it can help highlight as well. So now that I've got that smooth in, I'm ready to go into my eye look. So one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes is the Modern Renaissance by Anastasia. It is $42. It comes with 14 shades. You have 9 mattes, 3 satins, and 2 metallics. What I love about this eyeshadow palette is the versatility in shades. You do have some of your neutral browns over here, where you can do more of an everyday look. I personally love the berry tones in products. So you have that here. You have a little bit of like a rusty orange color, but you do have 2 shades right here that are super metallic that can take any look from day to evening. So I'm going to while I'm doing my shadow, I'm going to go over the shades in the palette with you. I also want to apologize for the background noise. It's my dogs and they're being rude. So our first shade is Tempera. Then we have Golden Ochre, Vermeer, Blonde Fresco, Antique Bronze, Love Letter, Cypress Umber, Raw Sienna, Burnt Orange, Primavera, Red Ochre, Venetian Red, Warm Taupe, and Realgar. Now I'm going to move on to my eye topper. This is probably the one product I have the most of, like as in shades. This is by Stila. This is the Stila Glitter and Glow Eyeshadow. Now make sure it's the Glitter and Glow. They do have a metallic version, which is pretty, but it's not as, you know, pizzazzy or fancy. So I have the shade right here, Kitten Karma. They offer it in full size and travel size. I do have both sizes right here. The full size is $24 and the mini is $12. Now, the mini doesn't come in all of the shades. The full size is offered in 14 shades ranging from, you know, metallic nudes to bold. They have like a sapphire one that's really pretty. But the mini, one of the reasons why I picked this shade today is because it does come in a mini. If you're interested, I have probably like 8 of the shades. This is beautiful. It swatches beautiful. It lays on the eye. It catches the light and it's glittery. And it's one of those things, if you want to play with glitter, this is the easiest way. It's already set up in here. You don't have to use a glitter glue and it stays on your eye all day long. So I'm going to go in and put it in my inner corner, right where it meets that burgundy eyeshadow. I'm going to overlap just a tiny bit. And I kind of dab over the edges with my finger to make sure that there are no like harsh lines. I'm going to go back in for my other eye. I love this product. There's actually a shade called Wanderlust that I have gone through a whole tube and had to buy a second. Which for me, because I hoard makeup like a crazy person, for me having to buy extras or refill is very rare for me because I just have so much. I don't typically go through a whole product. Alright, so there's that, and as you can see, like with the lighting that I have, it is super bright, super metallic, and honestly, this is something most people think they can't pull off until it's like nighttime or they have a special occasion. My day job, I'm a teacher. I wear this to work. I mean, you do you. Makeup is something very personal, and I think you wear whatever makes you happy. You know, everybody is going to have their own personal taste of what they think looks good, what they think doesn't. But you wear whatever that makes you feel pretty and makes you feel good about yourself. So now I'm going to go into eyeliner. I personally only use liquid eyeliners because I do like that bold look. I'm really into the 50s era where it has the wing eyeliner, the rockabilly type look. So what I have right here is the McGrath Labs Perma Precision Liquid Eyeliner. It only comes in black, which is personally what I use. What I love about this, it does retail for $25, which sounds like a lot. I've had this for 4 months and it's not even remotely drying out, so it lasts a really long time. It's 100% budge proof. So when you do a wing, or if you do something more bold, it's not going to go anywhere. You're not going to have the raccoon eyes at the end of the day. You're not going to have smudging. Like, I've worn it in the rain when I've been a crying hot mess, and I mean, it's in there for the long haul. It's very pigmented, and it's a felt tip, which to me is super easy, especially if you're a beginner. So it has a really good thin tip. So I'm going to go in. I do my lid first before I do my wing, which some people, I mean, you do whatever you like, whatever's easiest. So I'm going to go in. I go all the way to my tear duct. I don't think I can do a wing eyeliner and talk, so bear with me for just a minute. Winged eyeliner can smell fear. So now we're going to move on to mascara. I have a different mascara for top and bottom lash. I know that's high maintenance and excessive, but one of them's super cheap, so it kind of evens out. For my top lashes, my all-time favorite is the Tarte Man Eater. This is actually a new tube. This is something I definitely keep backups of. When Ulta does their 21 Days of Beauty, I got these for $10, so I bought a couple. It is a super spiky brush. I don't know if you can see. Very spiky. It has little nodules at the tip, so you can kind of get in and do a detail. What I love about this is it holds a curl. It's buildable, and it has lots of volume. I personally love the look of false lashes, but I don't like to wear false lashes. It's something that's not comfortable throughout the day for me. Wear glasses so they hit, and to me it's just not practical for my everyday wear. So I like something that gives me the look of super big, fluffy, volumized, lengthening lashes. I do my mascara a little weird. I kind of graze the tip of my lashes, just a tad bit, and then I go in and blink. I'm going to do my best not to make the crazy mascara face that everybody makes going in with this mascara is amazing. It retails for, didn't tell you that, it retails for $23. But you can do like I did and wait for like a sale. Tarte does sales on their website all the time. They have one going on right now. I think it's like up to 70% off. Ulta does their 21 Days of Beauty. If you're a rewards member, you can use your rewards points. You can use coupons. Every now and then, I know Ulta excludes prestigious brands like Tarte, Benefit, and all that from their coupons, but every now and then, like once or twice a year, maybe sometimes more than that, they give a 20% off, and it doesn't exclude anything. So that would be the time to stock up on the things that are generally more expensive. Which I'm not, I do spend a ridiculous amount of money on makeup, but there is a smart way you can go about it. You can get coupons, you can do sales, you can just do different things that make it more affordable. Go in with that. I typically do 2 coats of this because, I mean, 1 coat is fine. As you can see, I do have a lot of volume. It is darker, and it does give a good look, but I like that little bit extra. I'll go back in. I blink. I have never been successful with the technique where you put it in and you wiggle it. I always wind up poking myself in the eyeball, and if you've ever stabbed yourself in the eye with a mascara wand, you know that that should be a torture technique. I like to kind of flare it out toward the inner corner. Kind of open my eyes up a little bit. Since I do have that wing, your eyes are naturally going to be drawn toward that direction. So I like to build it up in the inner corner. Alright, so now I'm going to go in with bottom lashes, and this one is super affordable, but it's the only one I've used. I mean, I've used expensive mascaras, I've used drugstore, and this is the one that I keep going back to. I keep backups of this one. I think I have one or two in my vanity for when this one dries out. This is by Wet n Wild. It's the Mega Length Mascara. I'm pretty sure they only have one shade, but it's very black. It retails for $2.93. It doesn't smudge, and I used to never wear makeup or eyeliner or mascara under my eye because, you know, by the end of the day, you have that raccoon look and nobody likes that. But this doesn't smudge whatsoever. It's the one in the purple tube. I know they have a lot that kind of sound the same, so look for the purple tube. It's a teeny tiny little brush, and I just go in, and I do wiggle a little bit with this one because it's not directed toward my eye. I don't bring my mascara all the way in because I feel like it makes my eyes look really dark, and I want my eyes to look as bright and big as possible. Just do a little bit. I feel like it gives a little more dimension. I'm not someone who puts shadow in my under eye line. You'll see a lot of tutorials where people do that. I think it looks great on other people, but for me, I've never been able to get it to look like I don't have a black eye. So now that I've done all my eyes and stuff, I'm ready to contour. My dog just came in. I'm ready to contour and bronze. Going back to Col-Lab, this is one of my favorites. It is the Col-Lab Sun Obsession Sculpting Bronzer. It comes in two shades. I use the shade Major. It is more of a warmer tone bronzer. When you're contouring, it's where you put powder or cream. You put it under your cheekbones to give definition and bring it up into the perimeter of your face. You want to use a cool tone bronzer for that, which is something that doesn't have as much of a warm tone like orangey shade. If you put an orangey shade right here, trust me, it's not going to be cute. Cooler tones give you more of that chiseled definition that you're looking for. This one is super pigmented. When I go in, I do tap, tap. That's it. Because if you go in hard and you put it on your face, it is going to be a muddy, hot mess. So for contouring, I go right where my ear is and kind of see where that line naturally is. I just want to emphasize that. You just kind of blend. You want to make sure your contour or your bronzer is blended so you don't look like a Dorito running around. And I know I've said makeup is personal and you do whatever you feel looks great, but Doritos don't get on my lip. I don't bring it all the way in because I find that like when people bring their contour all the way to like where their cheeks or their lips are, it's a little crazy. I just go in to make sure my face looks a tad bit slimmer. I do bring this up to the temples. Anywhere you add a shade like this, it's going to kind of like Spanx for your face. Guys, it is starting to rain really bad here, so if it becomes a problem, I'll stop, but hopefully it doesn't get too loud. Which hopefully that means people will not be able to do their fireworks tonight, and my dogs won't be freaking out. Alright, so I've contoured, hopefully you can see, maybe, that it does make the face look a tad bit slimmer. You can contour under here if you have the double chin. And just make sure it's blended really well. Blend down. You want to do that with your foundation as well. Blend down into the neck so you don't have that line. You can do that. You can also use this for bronzer all over the face because I'm a tad bit extra and I like to go the extra mile. I have another bronzer. This one is by The Balm. There's 3 shades. It's called Take Home the Bronze Bronzer. And they have marketed these as anti-orange bronzers. So they're all going to be a natural to cooler shade. This is the lightest one, shade Oliver. And I take a fluffy brush. I tap off the extra because I don't want too much. And I start at my temples and kind of swirl. I eventually will take it and blend it into what I've already done just to make it look a little bit more seamless. I just swirl it around. This is a bronzer. What I love about this is it's not orange. And as the pale princess, it's hard to find things where the color plays out really well on my skin tone. You can build it up to be as dramatic as you want. One thing I kind of caution you to is too much bronzer. Number one, it's not going to look natural. It can look dirty, where it looks like, homegirl needs to wash her face. To make sure that's blended in. I personally don't contour my nose because I wear glasses, so it's just not something that I like to do. And I'm going to go into my blush. This is a brand that I discovered in Italy. It's one of their drugstore brands, but you can find it online, which is great. They're super affordable, and they run sales like all the time. This is Kiko Cosmetics Shade Fusion Trio Blush. It comes in 6 shades. It retails for $12, $12 US, and I have the shade 05 Marsala. What I like about this is you can go in with the bottom 2 shades if you want something really light. If you like something plummy to like go with your eye look, go all over. I take a giant fluffy Real Technique brush and I just kind of lay it down on all 3 shades. Smile just a little bit, go on the chubby parts of your cheeks, bring it back a little bit. And then just gonna make sure it's evened out. And there you go. All right, now we are ready for highlight. But one of my favorite highlights is from the drugstore. It's by Wet n Wild. It is the Mega Glow Highlighting Powder. It comes in 5 shades. My favorite shade is Precious Petals. This one retails for $4.99. Some of their other shades are like $2 or $3. This one's the more expensive, but $5 is still pretty cheap. If you go to Ulta, you can do the $3.50 off 15 coupons. You can get it at Walmart. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you can find it at the dollar store. I'm going to go in with my highlighting brush, and it's the opposite of contouring, where you put a darker shade to kind of bring shadow to your face. Where you put highlight is where you want the light to shine or pop. So I just kind of go in with a couple sweeps, and I do the tops of my cheekbones almost to the under part of my eye where my iris is. You can kind of see it's translating pretty well on camera. I like my highlighter to be a little more dramatic. If you don't, just put less. And I bring my highlight actually in to almost the outer corner of my eye. I feel like it widens my face quite a bit and it just brings a good shape. So go to the cheekbones. One of the things you can do, so let's say you put on your bronzer blush and you put on too much, or you put on too much highlight, you're freaking out, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to start my makeup over. One of the things you can do to correct that is go back in with your setting powder. Say you didn't like that, just dab more of your setting powder on top of it and it helps correct the situation. I also take the highlight down the bridge of my nose. It makes your nose look thinner. And then I take a little bit right here across the top of my Cupid's bow. There. So now I am ready for lipstick. Now lipstick was another one of those things that was super hard for me to narrow down because, not even exaggerating, I probably have 300 lipsticks. I typically like a liquid formula for the main reason of the longevity of the product. I don't have time, like I said, my day job, I'm a teacher. I don't have time to go through reapplying lipstick all the time. I'm snacking and go eat lunch. I don't have time to be checking in the mirror to see, is my lipstick still there? Did it move? And this is one of the formulas that stays on for the long haul. I wore this shade. I have 2 shades. I'll tell you in a minute. I wore the bright shade on Thanksgiving, wore it all day long, ate all day long, napped, and it was still there by the end of the day. I had to physically remove it. It doesn't dry out your lips. This is the Kylie Cosmetics Velvet Liquid Lipstick. Now make sure you get the velvet. Now, while the matte is beautiful and it looks great, To me, I feel like it dries out your lips. I don't like that crusty sandpaper. I've been in the desert type feeling on my lips, especially in the wintertime, because it's just uncomfortable. You can find yourself wanting to lick your lips all the time, and it emphasizes texture and line. So I like the Velvet Liquid Lip Formula. It comes in 11 shades on Ulta.com. Retails for $16. I have the shades Boy Bye and Surprise Me. I'll swatch those for you real quick. Boy Bye is more of a mauve color. Really neat. This is my favorite tone. It smells like vanilla frosting on a cupcake, but if scents bother you, it's not something that lingers. I only notice it when I'm applying, but once it's on there, I don't really notice it. And then Surprise Me is a bright red leaning toward like a fuchsia magenta. So this is Boy Bye, and this is Surprise Me. I think I'm going to go with Boy Bye. For liquid lipsticks, I don't use a lip liner. It's something that I've found that with the applicator, I can get a fairly precise look without lip liner. Plus, it's an extra step and then extra products. So, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to be able to talk, so bear with me. If you've gone outside your lip line, you can always take a tiny eyeshadow brush or concealer brush and kind of go across your lip. We're finally to the end. I know this has been a super long video. One of my secrets to keeping my makeup locked in for hours, still looking good by the end of the day, and just having more of a seamless look is setting spray. Whether you're using drugstore foundations or you're using BB creams, whatever it is, a setting spray can really change the way your foundation wears and how long it stays on. My all-time favorite setting spray right now to give more of a dewy look and to really kind of mesh all the powders that I put on my skin in that looks like just one seamless look is the Catrice Prime and Fine Dewy Setting Spray. It's the one in the pink bottle. It's one you have to shake. It does have almost like a powder in there. It gives a luminous look, but it's not glittery at all. So you shake, shake, shake. This retails for $7.99. I keep multiple backups of this. Right now, it is out of stock on Ulta. You can, I found this one in the store. It came in stock like one time at like 9 o'clock, and I ordered 4 of these, not even joking. They were buy one, get one half, which is great about some of the drugstore products. You can get it on sale. So you shake, shake, shake. And then you just spritz your face. If you're not used to it, it's going to feel super weird. But then you can fan it to make it dry. And you look great. So, alright. Don't open your mouth when, when spraying setting spray. And then I'm going to put a little too much on today. Definitely inhale some of it. There's probably... Alright, so there we are. This is how I get my full glam look. These are products that I've used day in and day out. These are not first impressions. These are products that are trusty, I go to all the time. If I will list all of the products, their prices below in the drop down box. If you're interested in, I have my little brushes right here. If you're interested in those, let me know and I can add those to the drop down box. But there it is, guys. I hope you've had a great day. Hope you've had a safe and wonderful holiday. And I'll see you in the next video.